to die, I think is horrendous. And she showed an enormous amount of courage. And I think the fact that they are looking for some sort of retribution against her is equally as bad.
Ongoing government shutdown, are you worried about the economic impact in Virginia, considering the link that we have to the federal government?
Yep. So one, we do have a big link to the federal government, and we've been working very hard in partnership with some of the federal authorities who are working, but also our own capabilities to fully understand that we're going to be okay for a while. And therefore, everything is open and running that the state manages. And of course, key programs that support the social infrastructure like Medicaid and SNAP and WIC are not being interrupted at all. And those will continue to move forward. I do believe that there's a giant safety concern that I'm starting to see, and that's why the Schumer shutdown really worries me. Because we see air traffic controllers who aren't getting paid, the military who's not getting paid, and therefore safety in the air and on the ground, and of course protecting our national freedoms is at risk. And that's why I have constantly said the Schumer shutdown needs to end. Democrats need to go vote to get the government back open and then go do the work. The work is supposed to be done by Congress in a normal course. They fail to do normal course, but don't hold the country hostage. And to me, that is the biggest violation of public trust right now is Senate Democrats need to go to work. I've asked everybody, contact Senator Warners and Kane, tell them to vote for Virginia, not for partisan politics, get the government open, and then go to work and make sure that you've got appropriations bills to pass.
Governor, there have been a couple of recent reports, the Children's Ombudsman and some stuff from the summer about challenges with Child Protective Services.
Yeah.
Is this something we're going to be addressing?
Yeah, it is. And in fact, we're working directly on it. I think that there are a number of key issues here. One is the fact that we've got to tighten the loop of what's happening to some of the children when they're placed. And that's going to require some legislation because we're going to need some help from the General Assembly to address some of the just code issues in how we support children in our foster care system. Second of all, I do think that there's a much tighter working relationship that we need from the local folks who manage this on a day-to-day basis and the state. And I think we can provide, much more comprehensive support and oversight. And that's one of the things we're working on. Thirdly, we have made huge progress in our foster care system. When we came in, one of the first things we did was establish Safe and Sound to get kids off of sofas and out of offices who didn't have a place that was safe and sound. And we made huge progress there. But this is a day-to-day piece of work, and we need to continue to stay focused to make sure that children who are in our foster care system particularly have a safe place to go. Finally, the Kinship Care Initiative has been huge, and this prioritizes family and close friends for placement. And we need to continue to progress this because that's going to be a safe place for a child to be. And all of the results demonstrate that when a child can be placed either with family or with close friends, the success of that placement is light years better than it would be otherwise. And so it is a big focus of ours. It continues to be one that has been from the beginning of the administration, and we're going to work on both a legislative package and administration actions to support the locals in this.
Some of that, I think I understand. The first one you mentioned about tightening up what happens to children when placed. Have you got thoughts on that?
Well, we will, but the end of the day is we also have some code issues we've got to address. And the code issues we've got to address is where a child goes when they, in fact, have had a circumstance at home that is deemed not safe. And we got to do some work here. And so I'll come back to you because we're working on that right now. We'll have something to say about that in about a week. Okay? Yeah, perfect.
Polling yesterday put Spamberger plus 13 on transgender issues. It's been the majority of Sears' campaign. How are you feeling about the messaging around the issue, and do you think it'll survive or thrive this year?
Yeah, first of all, I think that's a nonsense poll. Honestly, I think it's a nonsense poll altogether. They've always been nonsense. They haven't been able to actually call a race early, at least my whole political career, and that's been 5 years. So I just think they're bad at it, and I think they need to go assess what they do when they poll because they really haven't gotten one right. I do believe that parents, and we're seeing it not only in polling but in strong statements. Parents want their children to be safe, and what we've seen in Fairfax County with a sex predator who was allowed, if not enabled, to go into bathrooms with young girls has to stop. Has to stop. There's just a massive common sense moment here. And safety of our children, dignity of our children has to go up the list and has to be a priority. And therefore, I do firmly believe that this is something that parents are really, really focused on. What we are seeing from the Democrat ticket is a consistent message that says, one, we're going to prefer policy to your children's safety and allow men in girls' locker rooms or men in girls' sports, when in fact we know the safety should be the top priority. Second of all, we have an attorney general candidate who literally wished the death of 2 small children. I mean, wished it. Said Todd Gilbert's children should lie in his mother's arms. That just suggests a basic disconnect from the idea of parents' responsibility for the safety of their children and what the Democratic ticket wants to do. And I think Virginians are becoming much more clear on this topic.